Good evening and welcome to Revelation News Network, where the world's gone mad, but the news is madder. My name is Gothix and I'll be your host. Tonight we bring you a special report as we explore an important milestone in American history, Juneteenth. Our correspondents here at RNN have put together a beginner's guide to help you, the racist and uncultured white supremacists, better understand and celebrate this young, hip new holiday because, well, if you don't, you're a bigot. You may be asking yourself, what is Juneteenth? That doesn't sound like a real number. It's unsurprising that many of our viewers may be hearing about Juneteenth for the first time tonight. Prior to 2021, a Gallup poll showed that the majority of Americans outside of Texas had no clue what Juneteenth was. I mean, let's be real. If it wasn't for politicians trying to capitalize off the death of George Floyd, Juneteenth would have never been made into a federal holiday. So in order to not look like a bass-ackwards Appalachian hillbilly who's been living under a rock for the last couple of years, we've compiled just a few examples of how you too can join in on the celebrations. Assuming, of course, Pookie and Ray Ray invite you to their cookout. Juneteenth has been observed as an official holiday in Texas for the last 100 years. But it was only in 2021 that it became a federal holiday in order to celebrate the day enslaved people in the United States learned that they were freed from their Democrat masters by Republicans. Oh man, we could use some more of that these days. Last week, thousands of black folks gathered to remember this historic day by hosting barbecues, attending concerts, and flocking to places of cultural significance. Fried chicken restaurants. Our reporters found that many participants chose to honor those who suffered and died with more suffering and death. Several hundred people across the United States were shot or involved in shootings throughout various Juneteenth gatherings because, what better way to honor your dead ancestors than by attempting to murder future generations? Those of you new to these types of outpourings of black culture may be wondering, is Juneteenth supposed to be a solemn day of remembrance or a party? In its infancy, Juneteenth, formerly known as Emancipation Day or Freedom Day among other names, was an opportunity to reunite with formerly enslaved family members and commemorate those who suffered under slavery and those who died to end it. Just a few blocks away from one such Juneteenth festival in Los Angeles, a group of black teenagers decided to trash a local McDonald's and help themselves to reparations by stealing the cash register. You get reparations! You get reparations! Everyone gets reparations! Woo! Stop stealing. Melanin deficient viewers watching today's special might be a little confused. How do you celebrate Juneteenth if you're not black? Not to worry. We encourage all Mayo sapiens to participate in celebrations, but if racial identity politics isn't your thing, then just look to the nation's largest LGBTQIA+ civil rights organization for inspiration on how to stick your nose where it doesn't belong. They posted the following statement on their Twitter. To honor Juneteenth is to recognize the intersectionality between LGBTQ+ equality and racial justice. True black liberation continues to be challenged today by systemic racism and oppression. Our fight for equality is synonymous with a fight for black freedom. No. I don't think prejudices based on innate characteristics like skin color is even moderately close to someone choosing to share bodily fluids with the same sex or choosing to chop off their wiener in pursuit of momentary joy. Apparently it wasn't enough for the pride community to get a whole month to themselves, so they want to take the black holidays too, which, come to think of it, reminds me of the realtor who had the gall to insinuate he was the LGBTQ version of Harriet Tubman for helping Texans flee the state after a series of anti-LGBT laws, which, by the way, there are no laws that are preventing the Wi-Fi password community from moving in between states, but to compare the literal enslavement of black people to relocating just because you want kids sterilized is hyperbolic at best. But you know what? Back to the news. Several more social justice organizations have joined in on the festivities by using their platforms to emotionally extort the very people they claim to stand in solidarity with. Planned Parenthood, one of the most recognized abortion providers, posted the following message on their Twitter. Juneteenth is a call to lift up the beauty and contributions of Black people, but also to renew our commitment to confronting anti-Black racism and eliminating systemic barriers to access healthcare. Yes, because there's nothing like violently dismembering Black babies to show how much of a good anti-racist you are. Speaking of destroying Black families, Black Lives Matter, because apparently they're still a thing, left a following statement on their Twitter. Let's make this Juneteenth a powerful and uplifting celebration of Black excellence, as we always do. Ah yes, Black excellence. I remember it just like it was yesterday.
That is reparations. And they're pinning it all on what's been an overwhelmingly peaceful movement for racial solidarity.
Sorry about that. I forgot that I was living in reality for a second. BLM's tweet went on to say, in this pivotal historic moment, let's continue to actively build spaces of Black freedom, spaces where families and friends can live and learn and grow into all of their infinite possibilities. This is an act of progress. Our vision for all of our people is sustained by our joy, and nobody expresses joy like Black people. Excuse me, what? How do you encourage families to grow when your literal now deleted mission statement is to disrupt the prescribed nuclear family? How are you gonna build spaces for Black people while destroying spaces occupied by Black people? And joy? I'm sorry, what? All I ever hear from BLM Blacktivists is them screeching about reparations and capitalism, as they noted in a separate Juneteenth announcement that reads, even as we rejoice in our successes, we recognize that the sanctioning of our holiday rings hollow if the relentless machine of late-stage capitalism further exploits our culture. Y'all corporations are making money off of our celebration of freedom. Is this a joke? Out of the $90 million that BLM raised in donations between 2020 and 2022, only 33% of that went to charitable foundations. The rest of it was used to buy luxury homes, throw parties, and pay off family members for various services. BLM is on the brink of bankruptcy, and they have the nerve to criticize corporations for commercializing Juneteenth when they're doing the same thing by riding off the coattails of Black death. You would think these organizations who claim to care about Black people would care about preserving Black families, but obviously not. So instead, they'll keep showering you with affirmations, cringe ceremonies, and ugly statues if it means you'll keep chucking and jiving for the people who hate you. We here at RNN believe that celebrating the emancipation of Black Americans is a good and noble thing, but it's important to recognize that there's much more to learn beyond political action and living in the past as a perpetual victim. In fact, I'd like to take a moment and celebrate one of my forebearers, Booker T. Washington, a Black man who was born into slavery yet went on to become an educator, an orator, and a leading voice for former slaves and their descendants. What I loved about Booker was that he disapproved of civil rights agitation. He didn't believe that political action alone could make a man free. In 1896, he received an honorary Master's of Arts degree from Harvard University, and I want to read you the speech that he gave after his acceptance. In the economy of God, there is but one standard by which an individual can succeed. There is but one for a race. This country demands that every race shall measure itself by the American standard. By it, a race must rise or fall, succeed or fail, and in the last analysis, mere sentiment counts for little. During the next half century and more, my race must continue passing through the severe American crucible. We are to be tested in our patience, our forbearance, our perseverance, our power to endure wrong, to withstand temptations, to economize, to acquire and use skill in our ability to compete, to succeed in commerce, to disregard the superficial for the real, the appearance for the substance, to be great and yet small, learned and yet simple, high and yet the servant of all. This is Gothix from Revelation News Network, signing off. Good night. Hey everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed watching that video, but before you go, I want to let you know that the Gothix documentary, that's me, is currently being funded on Lore, but we need your help to get this movie out in front of the world. Now, if you don't know what the Gothix movie's about, it touches on a variety of topics like cancel culture, identity politics, mental health, and a bunch of other things that I think most people can relate to. In fact, you can watch the latest trailers to this film by clicking on the links in the description box below. So if you want to help get this movie out in front of the people who need to see it, you can do so by funding the project on lore.tv/Gothix. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!